24 hours, nobody can get it. Okay. So they can't copy it? Oh, so it tells on you. Oh. It's supposed to be a kind of a confidential thing, but then if somebody, I know we're live. It's just, it kind of goes into what I want to talk about. Before I talk about it, I got to give a couple shout outs the day I had. Now, I asked, because I'm old, I'll be 60 this week. And I asked, 60 this week, 60 on Sunday. And I asked, I said, you know, because some of us are using outdated words. And so I asked my young brainiacs, I said, is shout out still cool to use? And they was like, yeah, because I hate to be up here and be saying stuff that, you know, like extra cool and all that, and it's not cool. I want to give a shout out and thank all of you for joining us here and the Greenwood campus at the House of Reconciliation, and to the Greenville campus, as well as to our virtual campus. I had a couple contacts with some people, and I hit, first of all, my brother up in Ohio, Brother Ray. And I said, now watch, I'm going to hit him up and say, you know, Brother Ray, I'm going to call your name tonight. It didn't take him no time to hit me back. So that tells me he gets my stuff, and then he'll get back to me when he feel like it. So Brother Ray, up in Ohio, got Pastor Quincy, got a chance to talk to her today. Told her she wants me to help her with some stuff, give a shout out. And then I have Sister Baba Jean. Baba Jean, give a shout out to you. And I'm going to give a shout out to my mom, too. If you didn't tell me you were sick, I'm going to come see you. And don't be telling me you fine. If you fine, you go to church. You know, y'all saved folks. You know, saved folks don't miss church. Anybody want to talk now? Yeah, so to Brother Ray, Sister Baba Jean, Pastor Quincy, who called me today, to my mother, and to all of you that gives me the privilege to talk to you, to my constituents in Haiti. I see that the acting prime minister decided to step down, and let us continue to pray for our Haitian brothers and sisters, in that they will be able to resolve and come to some type of revolution. Because here's the thing. You cannot have peace and have peace of mind if you're always stuck in conflict. Always. So I want to bring to you a piece of Conflict on the Cliff. I want to welcome you to another opportunity to gain and advance in our lives with successful living. This broadcast this season is about don't gamble with your inheritance. And this is why I want to give some shout outs to people, because everyone has an inheritance. And sometime, because of confusion and conflict, and many times this word misdirection, you will not know the value of who you are. And there is value in every human being. I was going to look in my notes to find this, but it's probably so far down it'd be challenging to find. Is you have to understand that you matter. Regardless of your age, what you're going through, what you're facing, or what you have just come through, you matter. Now, after you know that you matter, what I want to help with for you and I is to find our direction. So this evening, just briefly, we're going to talk about details. And the series has been Conflict on the Cliff. Like I say, you cannot gamble with your inheritance. And, you know, people oftentimes, a lot of times, it appears as though I'm in conflict with my father, but I'm not in conflict with my father. I know who he is. And I know that his DNA runs in me. And because of God's grace and mercy, there are some things in our families that are not always the best thing. And I share this with people. Every thought that comes to your mind is not a thought to use. You can't believe everything you think. And how it was done does not mean that is the right way to do it as we move forward. So this broadcast this season is about don't gamble with your inheritance or your future or your children's future. Every time that you think about having a child, you need to have a plan in your life. And so what we're going to do is go through this part of Conflict on the Cliff, and we're going to talk about details. And I'm going to give you these first two. The first, well, three. First is ask. Second is listen. And third is understand. Many people are on the wrong path because of their feelings and emotions, the anger and the unsettled issues in their past. They're not enjoying today because of who they were or who they were with or what happened at a certain point in time in their life. The Bible talks about becoming a new creature. You'll find this in the scriptural section, I believe, of 2 Corinthians 5:17. It's hard to try to begin the transformation of becoming a new creature and still fighting with your old self. So in order to move forward, you and I have to begin to look in the mirror and begin to start to say, I must ask for the details. Why? How many of us are mentally, physically, emotionally, socially drained? And it's real simple. Most people today lead every aspect of their life through their feelings and emotions. The gift that God gave you is your intellect, intelligence, and ability to communicate. Last but not least, you are God's creation, and in that creation, God put a little bit of himself in you. I want you to remember that. God put a small portion of himself in you. No matter where you are in life, no matter what you're facing in life, no matter who is saying what about you in your life, you have value. And so as an individual, we're going to have to unclog our minds. You can't build new things out of old material. You can't build your present out of your past. Sometimes you don't even know your present because you're still somewhere locked in what was, no idea of where you are, and no clue to where you're going. And because your personality isn't your anger, your personality isn't your bitterness, your personality isn't your failure, your personality isn't your brokenness, your personality isn't your divorce, your personality isn't who was let go on the job. That's not you. You're going to have to ease back, take some time away from the noise, and some time away from the social gatherings. And you're going to have to spend some time with God. Who am I? Everyone should have a daily plan, monthly plan, but if you don't like where you are, you may not even like who you are. Sometimes when you don't like who you are, it's hard for you to deal with other people because you're unhappy with yourself. And I'll give you a change of word. You're not a failure. You're a person in transition. It's no different than a caterpillar to a butterfly. We don't like process. We don't like details. And it's the details that get left out of our lives And so then we wind up on uncharted paths. We're not who we're supposed to be. We're not where we're supposed to be. And we're not doing what we're supposed to do. My roots are real simple. Apostolic Pentecostal holiness. I was having a conversation with someone today, and they were talking about A, B, and C. And I said, here's the problem. When I was in it, and that's my roots, we spent so much time celebrating, speaking in tongues and shouting and flying all over the building that we didn't have no knowledge. We were told Jesus was coming anytime. He is. But nobody told us what he said, occupy until I come. So how are you going to eat? I will be 60 on Sunday. I grew up Apostolic Pentecostal. They've been telling me Jesus has been coming for 60 years. If I wouldn't have bought a house, got a job, still waiting on Jesus. Ask me, why is that important? When are you going to separate from your pain and focus on your future and begin your healing? Your healing is not going to come from your past. Your healing is not going to come from someone saying, I'm sorry. Your healing is going to come when you take personal responsibility and be accountable to yourself that I am taking charge of my life. Let me give you something. Every female, your life is not supposed to be taken by a man. Your life is supposed to be shared with a man. That's why there's so many angry females out there. They done gave up everything. College for your bucket head. With them mule lips. Because I'm a man. Woo. Because I'm from the old school. A man is different than a husband. A husband is a provider. And he's not intimidated by what God gave you. If you're smart, you're smart. I told my son, I love him. I said, you need to marry somebody smarter than you. Because he's not dumb. Very smart guy. We had a conversation. We chat more now, I guess, because I'm older. And I'm not as aggressive. I guess the old lion is losing some of his teeth. And he's very intelligent. And so we have a conversation, and I'm like, you gotta have some tenacity. And so I said, you're good, but you need somebody who can think on their feet. So marry somebody smarter than you. Nobody should marry anybody dumber than themselves. You don't need another dummy. It's okay to laugh. You don't need another dummy. Look at y'all. If y'all get free, don't get what you got. Don't go back to what you had. Your life was meant to be shared. You were not designed to be conquered by defeat. God never promised you a rose garden. He promised you that he will be with you even until the end of the world. God never told you you would never have a storm. God never told you people wouldn't lie to you. God never told you people wouldn't betray you. God never said that. So sometimes we have unpositioned anger. The challenge we have, are you willing to work for what you desire? Naturally and spiritually. This is what I'll say. We can't be everything to everybody and nothing to ourselves. Next month, going the month of August, supposed to be new day, new beginning, new opportunity. What will be new in your life? What new path will you begin to lay out? And my question to you as an audience, what's the details of the path? Don't say what you're gonna do. Put a plan together for your life. Quit being in someone else's washing machine. Because they wash you when they want to, they spin you when they want to, and they rinse you when they want to. Get a grip on what your value is in God and in life. Quit talking about what you're not. If you hadn't become it by now, maybe you won't become it. Talk about what you can, and it's not going to happen in your life or my life without the details. Now, let me give you a little caveat. People are not going to like you when you get your own mind. When you cut the leash off your neck and you start thinking for yourself. And let me say one thing about details. What did I say? First of all, you got to ask. You got to listen. You got to understand. And after understand, you got to communicate. You got to become an effective communicator. See, when you cut that leash off, you began to grow your independence. And it's nothing wrong, and I shared this. I have two beautiful daughters. I shared this with them. It's nothing wrong with being independent. And if a man is jealous or have issues with your independence, then he's not for you. Nobody want to talk to me now. If you cannot go to college and finish college for a man, you better run. Come on, y'all not looking well. Come on. Say, yeah, I can feel the pushback on it, even with the virtual campus. Because I want to marry you now, but can I give you facts? If it's really what you want, you will wait for it. Say, I don't believe that. Come on. I see it. Who was it? Jacob? Was it Jacob? Yeah, he had big lip Leah and Rachel. He didn't know Leah was ugly. He didn't even look at her. Rachel must have been fine. That's all I can say. Rachel must have been on fire. But see, here's the thing. He didn't know the details. See, in Africa, they have different rules. Just about every tribe got a different rule. And the rule was the eldest daughter must get married before the youngest daughter. And so Jacob thought he was working 7 years. I think it was to Laman. And on the wedding night, they sent Leah in there. I know he wished they had some lights. Look at that. See the wedding. This is in the Bible. On the wedding night, he got Leah. He come out that tent the next morning, he wanted to have a conversation. And I think it was Laman told him, said, the rules are, somebody say the details. So he said, now I done worked 7 years, and you all have given me big lip Leah. There's no exchange. So he told Laman. Do I know? Well, back then, we ain't got no rules nowadays. Folks just do what they want to do. You know, he went to, folk don't even tell you. They come back home, Daddy, I'm married. You're looking at your hand. You like, I raised you. He didn't even ask me for your hand. You know, that's old school right there. Y'all don't know nothing about that. My audience don't know. You know about that, D? He asked you for your hand. And he would come to your father as a man, and he would be able to tell your father he can provide for you. See, I tell my girls, I got two pretty girls. One of them, I'm still trying to check, see if she mine. She's so pretty. Well, both of them, one of them look like me. I can't tell no lie about that one. I can't lie about that one. Geez, I can't lie about that. You know, when they say, you. You know, that youngest one, she just look. That oldest one, I keep seeing these pictures on social media. I'm like, is that my daughter? You know, so she be all these different looks she get, you know. I'm like, that ain't who I saw Sunday. So he had to work 7 more years for Rachel. Ask me why this is relevant. You're not going to get where you're supposed to be until you put the time in for yourself. Some of you who are watching and listening need to figure out how you're going to go back to school. This is the easiest time to go back to school. You can pretty much predominantly do everything online. Invest in yourself so you will have sustainability. To women who I have an infinity for and passion, because I have a mother, I'm a mama's boy all day long. Be the best you can be for yourself. Any good man, any good husband will not hinder your growth. They will applaud your growth. Independence does not mean that you do not share. You should have something of your own. And I'm from the old school. I told my daughter, do not bring no man up to my house and he riding on the passenger side. Don't show up at my house. And I'm about to be 60, so I'm going to have an excuse. It just don't work for me. I was raised by real men. There's a standard. You got to have value. Know your value. You can't be everything to everybody and nothing to yourself. You have a life to live. You're not a damsel in a castle. You're a bright, young, intelligent individual. Yes, you need to be a little bit like those sisters that went to Moses when their dad died and their brothers was dead and everybody else was looking at their land. Them sisters got together and called to meet with Moses, and he had to change the rules. Sometime in your life you have to change the rules. And they were able to receive their portion. Stop denying yourself of the greatness that God probably put in you. And none of us, male or female, can get there if everything that you and I do is out of our past, out of being evil, out of getting even, out of anger, out of nightmares, out of bad things in our life. That's not who you are. God put something in you that man cannot take away. I didn't say man can control it. That's your intellect, intelligence, and spirituality. You cannot answer the problems that we're going to face in your emotions. You cannot answer and solve everything in anger or vigilance. But only you and God. So let's get started. First, take personal responsibility. We're talking about details. Get the details. What are your goals between now and October? And what is your goals that you need to finish before 2022? And what are your goals going into 2022? Because one of the worst things that happen to me, and people say I'm a black and white kind of guy. I don't have a gray area. Either we going or we not. Either it works or it don't. I'm not the it may be kind of, I don't know, let me think about it, let me sleep on it. Let me give you something that most people don't get. All of us are going to be on the cliff at some point in time. Guess what should happen on the cliff? Changes should happen. Total focus and concentration should begin to take place when you feel like your choices are being narrowed. The next thing, so you pass all the other levels. Where you're going, details have to matter. So what does this mean in another term? Your equilibrium. There's a natural side of you, and then there's a spiritual side of you. The whole point of the Holy Spirit isn't that we just show each other that we can speak in tongues and dance and fly around in the church, and it helps guide us in our natural life. It doesn't mean you go to the bank and start speaking in tongues. But you shouldn't go to the bank and get arrested either. It took me 1 hour and 45 minutes to make a deposit the other day. Threw my whole day off. And when I was in the bank, there were 2 people in front of me, and I felt I could make it. And each one of them took 30 minutes. And the bank closed at 4. And I left one bank because of somebody want to, clip the telegram pole. And so traffic was backed up forever. So then when I went to the bank, there were 9 people in line. So I went around and I said, well, I'll just run down to the other bank and go in. And I walked in and said, man, there ain't but 2 people here. Little did I know, each one of them had about 5 problems. And so where my nature and my intensity was ready to get on a 12, I said, you'll go to jail. Because I really felt like my grandson. I wanted to have a fit. I wanted to throw my money bag down and say, this don't make sense. I wanted to have a tantrum. And I looked up at the cameras and I said, you do that if you want to. You can do it. You can do it. But there gonna be some consequences to what you do. So I just went over there and sat down. So this is what the Holy Spirit is about. It's a buffer. Not only does it lead you, it guides you. So when we look at 2 Corinthians 5 and 17, do anybody remember what it says? I know why you do that. And while you do that, and let me know when you have it. It's time to take personal responsibility for your future. You can't embrace your future. Watch this. If you cannot handle closing your path. Let me say this again. You cannot embrace or handle your future if you cannot close your past. There are some things, there are some people, there are some relationships that have no more benefit to you as you move forward in life. You have to dissolve that psychological illusion, whatever. I can think of 100 words. You got to resolve it. It's not a part of my today. This is where I am. How do I get the best of me going forward? Come on, let's read this real quick. Therefore. So now the Bible uses a term, therefore, which means this is not without challenge, not without issue, not without confrontation. And the problem is people are trying to please everybody. As you begin to take charge of your life, there are people publicly, there are people professionally, there are people personally, and there are family people that will have an issue with you because you're going to hear this one common theme: you are not who I know. And what you've done is you've cut the lease off of you, and now you're getting ready to take responsibility for you. So here's the scripture for that. Come on. Therefore, any man be in Christ. Now here's the thing. You can control to a certain degree your natural assets in life. You can go to school, you can get an education, you can get a car, you can get a house, you can get a spouse, you can save money. It's nothing in the world. Those are natural things. The problem is spiritual people look at natural things and think natural people are in a better shape than spiritual people. Here's the thing. This is why this word is critical. Equilibrium. The Bible says, for God is a spirit. God does not praise and worship your car. God does not praise and worship your house. God does not praise and worship your bank account. He told them, I've got cattle that sit upon 1,000 hills. You don't impress God. So why are you trying to impress people who were made by the same God? Hello? Why do you think you're less? And the people that you're trying to get acceptance from was made by the same God. And God said, you're all dust of the earth. I don't care if they put you in the mausoleum. You still dead. I don't want to go in the ground. I ain't mad at you. I hope I can afford one. But if I can't, what's in that box is not going to change. How much of your career and your life you've given up, and how much of your mind have you given to people, and they've deposited nothing back in you? How much time are you giving to grown children? Well, he's going to get himself together next month. He wasn't together last month. And so what we don't get is, put me back up. You stay right where you are. What we're guilty of is we have this, life will make you have personal guilt. Life will make you feel like you couldn't do this for your children. So you'll let the standard of life down. Failures will make you overdo. Rather than training the child, you cuddle the child. And now they're 25 and 30 and they can't get out the nest. The problem is they got the book part. You got the book part, you got the job, you got the career, you got the benefits, you got the retirement, you have the Social Security, even though I got another article saying they taking stuff away. But do you have God? And does God have you? You can't just go to God when it's convenient for you. You have to build a relationship, a personal relationship. This is why I'm saying to you, opening up the second part of the series, Conflict at the Cliff, is details. And here's the thing, none of us can change. You can change your city, you can change your country, you can change your language, you can change your name, but it doesn't change you. This is the only way for you and I. This is our scripture of hope. Read, please. So first of all, are you willing to come into Christ? Not just know God, not just go to church. Are you willing to operate in his system? Or do you just want to operate and manage God like you manage everybody else? So you get mad, don't nobody say nothing in the house.
He is a new creature.
Do you want to be new?
Old things are passed away.
Titles don't make you new.
Behold,
money don't make you new. A new person in your life don't make you new.
Behold, all things are become new.
So if God gives you a fresh start, why are you still focused on what God has separated out of your life? If God has put you in a new department, if God has taken you and put you in a new city, if God has taken you and someone's training you to do something, why are you still going back talking to people that can't understand where you are? Because remember, God has no respect of person. So why are you trying to win the favor or get even with people? Your focus needs to be on bettering you. Not crushing somebody. They're not worth your time. Not cursing somebody out. Can y'all say this with me? Let it go. Let it go. Who hurt you? Let it go. They're not going to say they're sorry. They ain't never going to see themselves wrong. I was talking with someone today and they was asking me, and I said, I asked God a question because I really was bothered. In my human side, God said this to me: all wood is not billable wood. Some people in your life are only there for a season. They're only there for a season. They're not there forever. It's like a race. Everybody starts out on the same line, but everybody don't make it to the finish line. Moses' father, was it Moses? No, Abram's father. The Lord told him to get from among his kindreds. And Abram tried to take his family, his father and all of those, and he wound up having to leave them, because sometime where God is taking you into the chrysalis, into developing you to what he wants you to be, we got to focus on spiritual equilibrium. Natural things are good. Cars are wonderful. Houses are wonderful. Clothes are wonderful. Food is wonderful. Vacations are wonderful. But do you have a wonderful spirit? As I close, I'll leave you with this. For every difficulty, there's an opportunity to overcome. For every difficult moment in your life, life will present you an opportunity to overcome. I'll leave you with this. Don't leave it in the hands of others. You have a future. If you want to be a new creature, you want to be at a new level, you want to walk a new walk, you need a new environment, you have to understand you can't leave your future in the hands of your past. God bless you. I'll see you all soon.